There are 11 things that dogs hate when humans do, and you might be doing some of them without even realizing it. In this video, we will show you these 11 mistakes you might be making. Number 1. Forcing an uncomfortable situation. This often happens when you are out walking and see another dog or person. Sure, you have the sweetest and friendliest dog, so you want them to say hello. But the problem is that your dog doesn't always want to greet other dogs or people. It's like when you were a child and your parents always made you greet strange adults that you didn't want to talk to. Remember how annoying that was? Well, now that you know your dog doesn't want to greet everyone, you can change your behavior the next time you encounter another dog or person, or when going to an unfamiliar place. Observe your dog's body language. I'll mention some signs that they are scared or nervous. They crouch or avoid other dogs or humans. The tail is tucked between their legs or wagging stiffly and low. They look away. You can see the whites of their eyes, or they are panting more than usual. If you notice these signs, it might be a good idea to give your dog more space so they feel more comfortable. You will likely see this body language again if you make some of the mistakes we will mention later. Number 2. Not following a routine. A routine, yes. Your dog probably enjoys going on spontaneous adventures occasionally, but most dogs are happier when they are on a routine. They like to know when they will go for a walk, when they will go out to do their business, and when they will eat next. Think of it this way. If you had no control over when you would eat and were totally dependent on someone else to feed you, wouldn't you want to know when to expect dinner? Of course you would. And it's the same for dogs. A routine tells them what to expect, which can help them relax. This doesn't mean you need to follow a strict routine all the time. Just be mindful of how your dog is feeling during a busy season of life. Number 3. Having unrealistic expectations. I know this sounds a bit complicated, but this is one of the most common mistakes people make. Your dog is, well, a dog, but many people expect their dogs to be perfect or at least handle difficult situations better than they actually do. Here's a quick story. The other day, I visited a friend's house who has an enthusiastic boxer. Well, when I walked in, his dog started jumping all over me. Obviously, I love dogs, so I didn't mind too much. But the part I didn't like was my friend getting mad at the dog for jumping on me. Here's the thing. I asked him how much training he's been doing with the dog to stop him from jumping on people when they enter the house. He kind of looked down and said not much. That's the problem. People expect their dogs to behave when they haven't even trained them. It's not fair to get mad at the dog when you haven't invested the time in training them. Some dogs are naturally calmer and better behaved than others, and some, like my friend's boxer, need a bit more training to channel all their love and enthusiasm for life. This is a small part of another big mistake we will talk about later. If you find yourself frustrated with your dog for doing something, you might want to ask yourself if you have set them up for success in the situation they are in. This mistake is understandable, as it's not really a natural way of thinking. Number 4. Your dog will hate it if you skip nail trimming day. Well, in the short term, they will probably love it if you never trim their nails. But when their nails get too long, they can cause deformed or injured feet, and then they will be upset. Nail trimming is a bit tricky because the quick, which contains the blood vessels and nerves in the nails, grows with the nail. So if you let the nails grow too long, you can't just cut them short like you used to, because you would cut into the quick, which would be painful and very bloody for your furry friend. The same goes for all their grooming needs, like brushing their teeth, bathing, and brushing their fur. They might not like it in the moment, but when they are feeling good and healthy in the future, they will thank you in their own sweet way. Number 5. They hate when humans use harsh chemicals. If you have a dog, harsh chemicals in the air and on the floor are not good for them. So be aware of where you are cleaning and with what you are cleaning. Since we are on the topic of chemicals, I have an extra issue for you. Fleas, ticks, and worms can be serious problems. Your dog might not like it if you use medications to prevent these problems. But here is our biggest tip. Talk to your vet about what to give them to keep them healthy. That's all we will say for now, because your vet knows your dog best and knows what potential problems are in your environment. Number 6. Being inconsistent. Common scenario. You are walking your dogs in your neighborhood and they see their best friend, another dog. They start pulling on the leash to get to their friend because they are so excited. Of course, you let yourself be dragged over to greet them. After all, it's their best friend, and you need to make an exception, right? Well, the next time they see another dog during the walk and start pulling, they might be surprised when you get mad and don't let them pull. Being inconsistent by allowing them to pull on the leash or perform any other behavior, and then getting mad for the same things you allowed, is confusing and frustrating for your dog. If you are frustrated with them for misbehaving, inconsistency might be part of the problem. Try to be more consistent and you will see the result. Are you enjoying the video? If possible, please subscribe to the channel and give a thumbs up to the video, so whenever I post a new video, you will be notified. Number 7. Changing food types too quickly. Changing food types quickly can cause stomach discomfort for them. If you had no idea about this until you got your first puppy, you learned the hard way, unfortunately. Switching your dog's food too quickly, like trying a different brand, can make them vomit or have diarrhea. The best way to make the transition is by using the 10% rule. Here's how it works. On the first day, give them 90% of the old food and 10% of the new food. On the second day, give them 80% of the old food and 20% of the new food. Each day, increase 10% of the new food until they are fully adjusted. This usually prevents stomach discomfort for them and saves you from some unpleasant cleanups. But you don't need to go slow just when changing food. If you are training your puppy or getting them used to something new. Number 8. Dogs hate when you want them to learn too quickly. And not only will they hate it, but you will too. Here's what I mean. Let's say you are teaching your puppy to sit. The key here is small steps. First, teach them to sit in your living room with no distractions. Once they master that, teach them to sit with distractions around, like other family members. Once they master that, take them to another room or even outside, where there are new tempting smells and noises, and start training them with no one around again. Eventually, you progress to where they are good enough at sitting that you can ask them to sit in public, with lots of people, dogs, and smells around. However, most people make this mistake. They teach them to sit in the living room with no distractions and then skip all the intermediate steps, going straight to asking them to sit in public. Of course, it doesn't work, and both you and your furry friend get frustrated. And this doesn't just apply to training, but also to things like trimming their nails and getting them used to the vacuum. If you don't take small steps, everything can go wrong. Number 9. Ignoring their canine needs. Ignore your dog's natural needs and you will hate their reaction. You know, when sometimes you just want to chew on a stick? Okay, I'm kidding. It would be weird if you wanted to do that, but since we humans don't have that desire, it can be easy to forget that our dogs do. Dogs need to do dog things, like sniff, chew, and run to feel satisfied. If they don't, that pent-up energy often turns into undesirable behaviors, like barking, chewing your shoes, or acting out for attention. Your furry friend will love it if you consider their canine needs and incorporate them into your daily routine, and they won't like it if you don't. And now let's move on to the worst one of all. Number 10. Punishment. Punishing your dog, this is tricky because at first it might work. They are chewing your shoes, so you yell at them and they stop. Problem solved, right? Not exactly. This is a short-term solution that can have negative long-term effects. You are teaching your dog to be afraid of you instead of wanting to obey you. Training them will become difficult in the future. And worse than making training harder is that you are damaging your relationship with your best friend. Do you really want to have a relationship with your dog based on domination and yelling instead of mutual love, respect, and the desire to make each other happy? I'll say this. If you like dominating and yelling at your dog, then this channel is not for you. It's kind of obvious that your dogs won't like it if you yell at them, but this next point is not so obvious. Number 11. Dogs hate when humans are angry with each other. Imagine you are in a foreign country and two locals are yelling at each other in a language you don't understand. You have no idea what's going on, so you don't know how serious the situation is because you don't understand what they are saying. That sounds scary, right? Now imagine you are able to feel their fear and stress even without understanding any of what they are saying. Well, that's how it is for dogs. They hate it when their humans argue because they are very in tune with their emotions. The ideal scenario would be that you simply don't argue with your family, but I know that's not exactly realistic. So maybe just try to keep the volume down or go outside, away from your furry friends. They will feel much better. Now that you know 11 things that dogs hate, how about learning about their vision? No, they don't see in black and white. In this video that is here on the screen, I delve into talking about canine vision. Click on the screen and continue with me in the incredible world of dogs.